A 3D hologram of the Queen has been unveiled in Jersey. It's the first royal portrait of its kind. The image is by the light artist Chris Levine and was commissioned by the island to celebrate 800 years of loyalty to the Crown. I'm joined in the studio by the art critic and editor of the art magazine, the Jackdoor, David Lee. Evening to you. Thanks very much. You can see it here.
Yeah.
Give us your criticism. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it...
I don't think those kind of adjectives are appropriate with holograms. You know, hologram is like a photograph. It's great and efficient and accurate as a record, but when you want something more than that, it's a bit of a problem with it, because it's the kind of thing it's the kind of process where you have to sit there stock still, staring at you like this.
Very alarming
for a very long time. So it's like early photography where they wore body harnesses, their neck was in a brace and they had a headrest in order to keep them still, just in order to get the image. So you can't exactly get vivacity with that kind of an image. So, you know,
I suppose from what you're saying, actually, it does explain in some ways the expression on her face. It's quite a stern expression, isn't it?
Yeah, it's severe and serious because she's concentrating on staying still, you know. You can't expect anything else. And when she says of herself, you know, I look like an old lady lost in a wood, well, you know, there's a temptation to facetiousness there, isn't there? You can't do any more than that. But I think it's good to have a hologram because holograms are wonderfully realistic when you see them in the flesh. You know, I remember the exhibitions 20 years ago where you'd see Keith Moon, the drummer of The Who, actually in the room with you. They were amazing. And I can't understand why they haven't taken off, but they haven't. You know, you go to the National Portrait Gallery, it's not full of holograms, and maybe it should be.
Is it expensive? Because this one does appear to be quite expensive, over £100,000, I think it's estimated it cost.
Yeah, I raised my eyebrows at the 150 grand. Because, you know, the Royal College, we had a department of holography, and if it had been that expensive to make one, we wouldn't have done it. But I think, you know, there's an artist's markup there. But the other interesting thing about this is it's realistic. You know, there's no flattery involved, which I'm relieved because so often with royal portraiture you get these fawning hacks.
I think we can see a couple of those ones actually. If we look at some of the previous ones.
I mean, that one is truly horrendous. I've never seen any. I remember that when that came out, it looks like a kind of souvenir tea towel or something, doesn't it? That is truly horrendous. But I think the game's up with flattery because when you've seen sitters running down the street and being on It's a Knockout and in the newspapers and on the telly all the time, you know, you need something which is a bit more interesting, which was why a few weeks ago when Stuart Pearson Wright did the portrait of the Duke of Edinburgh, the one where he complained about having too big a nose and he had mustard seeds growing out of the end of his finger. I thought that was more interesting. Painters have to try and do something which is slightly different. You know, they have to interest us in a sitter that we already feel we know intimately.
We know her intimately already. Thanks very much indeed, David, for joining us here tonight and all of that.